Hey Canucks fans, and welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, October the 25th. The Canucks are coming off an unspectacular yet steady 1-0 victory over the Minnesota Wild last night. Jake Virtanen had the only goal of the game, and now he has goals in back-to-back contests. And with the victory, the Canucks took 4 out of 5 games, 8 out of 10 points on the road trip. A very successful and very surprising result for the team. And now they come back and start their second homestand. They prepare for Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals tomorrow. But I'll talk about tomorrow's game tomorrow. For today, I want to do a quick check-in and talk about the new players, the players that the Canucks have acquired since July 1st, and give almost an interim report card on their performance so far. And if you think that 9 games is not enough, not big enough sample size, then call this an interim report card. And I'm not going to talk about Patrick Wiercioch, the defenseman, because he hasn't gotten into a game yet. But let's talk about 6 guys: Nilsson, Del Zotto, Burmistrov, Vanek, Pouliot, and Gagne. So here we go. We're going to go from best marks to worst marks. I'm giving an A- to defenseman, an A- to goaltender Anders Nilsson. In the 3 games he's played, 2 of them he's got shutouts, both victories obviously. And the one game that he didn't get a shutout, I don't think it was really his fault. That was the 6-3 debacle against Boston. Thanks to Erik Gudbranson's 5-minute boarding major and game misconduct, Boston scored 3 goals on that 5-minute power play. And we can debate whether none of those goals were Nilsson's fault. But I think any goalie would be under siege in that kind of environment. So if you erase that game and you look at his 2 shutout wins, obviously he played very well. He looked big. Well, he didn't look big. He is big. So he played big. He played steady, very calm in the net, played back in his crease, and very efficient with his movements. And as I've talked about before on these video blogs, I think that brings a calming presence and a steadying presence to the team. So A- for goaltender Anders Nilsson. Next up is the defenseman Michael Del Zotto. I'm giving him a B+. In 9 games, he has 5 points, all assists. He's been steady. He's brings a lot of energy to the team, the way he skates and the way he activates into the play. And the one thing about Del Zotto, 2 things actually. He has the most ice time for all Canucks skaters at 24 minutes. And that's a lot for anyone, especially a guy on a new team. And so I'm very impressed with the amount of time he's played. He's played in all situations, obviously. And Travis Green has really relied on him, especially with Alex Edler and now Troy Stecher being out. The other thing about Del Zotto is he's not afraid to block shots. And the Canucks are getting better at that. We're starting to notice it more as the season progresses. But in blocking shots, he's obviously making life easier for his goaltenders, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line. So B+ from Michael Del Zotto. I'm going to give a B to another defenseman, Derek Pouliot. He's our newest defender. We got him in the trade recently, and he's played 6 games already because of Alex Edler's injury. He has been remarkably steady and unnoticeable in a good way. He's a good skater, and he moves the puck well, and he hasn't made any glaring defensive gaffes so far. And sometimes as a defenseman, it's better if you're being unnoticed than you are noticed, at least from a negative standpoint, in that he's playing steady, and he's certainly not a liability to the team. So he's fit in very well, thrust into a top 6 role, maybe sooner than we expected. I'm sure he's happy about it. So I'm giving Derek Pouliot a B. I'm giving a B- to forward Alex Burmistrov. He has 4 points, 1 goal and 3 assists in his 8 games. He was scratched for one of them. And I think 3 of those points came in 1 game in Ottawa. So you take away that performance, and he's been a little more unsteady. He's steady enough on the defensive side. He's not a defensive liability. But in his 13 minutes of ice time, he hasn't looked particularly dangerous, again, except for that Ottawa game. And you want him to be more of a difference maker. He's on a 1-year contract for $900,000, but obviously a show-me contract. And you want him to contribute both on the power play. You want him to be a solid penalty killer and, of course, score at even strength. So although he hasn't been a defensive liability, I think he hasn't been as noticeable as he could be on the offensive end. And I look for more from Burmistrov. And he had a chance to play some really good players in Besser and Berchi for a little bit. So B- for Burmistrov. 2 more guys. I'm giving a C+ to Thomas Vanek. He's not the fastest skater. We know that. He's not the toughest guy ever. He's not the grittiest player. He actually plays a lot like I do when I play roller hockey, in that he's kind of got that rectangular, squared off upper body, and he kind of skates around like this. He's not the fastest guy, but he's not bad in front of the net. He can tip pucks, and he's not afraid to actually mix it up and be a little gritty in front of the net. So Thomas Vanek only has 4 points as well. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist, and I think at least 2 of those 3 goals, if not all 3, have been in front of the net with deflections and not being afraid to go there. So whether it's on the power play or at even strength, I think that's going to be his strength, is to go to the net to get some of the greasy goals And he's been okay. He hasn't been that noticeable. He's not so good on the defensive end, so you need him with good defensive players. And I would love to see more from him, and he can be a difference maker. So 4 points in 9 games is not bad, but I certainly think he can be better. So C+ is an average grade, and he's being average. And I'm giving a C- to Sam Gagner. We had high hopes when they signed him. He put up over 50 points with Columbus last year, mostly on the power play. And I still think that Travis Green is trying to figure out what he has in Sam Gagner, especially on the power play. He's looked a little out of place, or they haven't utilized him properly. And he's I think he's only got 3 points, or no, 2 points in. He's got 2 or 3 points in the 9 games. I should have looked that up. But no goals yet. I think they've been all assists. So he's looking for his first goal of the season. And for a guy who's been known to put the puck in the net, we need more from him. Now, it might not all be his fault. It might be the way that Travis Green is still trying to figure out the best way to utilize him. But I definitely think that he can be a difference maker, and the Canucks will need him to be a difference maker going forward. So C- for Gagner. So Canucks fans, I'd love to hear what you think about my interim grades. I've got an A- for Anders Nilsson, a B+ for Michael Del Zotto, a B for Derek Pouliot, a B- for Alex Burmistrov, a C+ for Thomas Vanek, and a C- for Sam Gagner, and an incomplete mark for Patrick Wirkoch. Leave your comments below. Leave your grades and your justification below. I'd love to read it. And if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel yet, I invite you to do so now. Have a great day. Enjoy this non-game day. I'll check in with you tomorrow as the Canucks look to take on the Washington Capitals. God bless, and go Canucks go.